Time is a funny thing. So many great projects requiring the right people at the right time. What began initially as filler would end up being a cultural icon. TV has always been one of the most competitive enterprises. Keeping viewers' attention is paramount and incredibly difficult. There was an opening on Saturday nights in 1963. There was a popular sports show called Grandstand, which was followed by a music show which was loved by the kids called Jukebox Jury. In between the two was a gap where the BBC were losing audience members to rival networks. Sidney Newman had just taken over as head of drama. Newman was an ideas man. He is attributed with the show's name and lead character, the size difference of the TARDIS and elements of the show's format. Newman worked with several people before it was deemed ready to go to Verity Lambert. The BBC was a bit of an old boys club, and the show itself was not initially treated with much respect, despite getting some very creative people attached to or working on it. Mervyn Pinfield was an associate producer on the show. He was a very talented producer, director, and technical creator. The incredible theme was written by Ron Grainer, and it was Delilah Derbyshire who would give it the distinctive sound. The unique visual opening was the work of Bernard Lodge and Norman Taylor. The original idea had no room for action sci-fi. It was to be an educational program using time travel as its vehicle. Casting also wasn't as easy as first thought, and a couple of actors turned down the role before William Hartnell accepted and became the first Doctor. At this stage he was simply the Doctor, and there was no Time Lords, regeneration, or even any thoughts of success. The initial idea was to have the Doctor cranky and almost belligerent. The pilot was refilmed, and for its day this was a rare thing. The studio they had to film in was terrible and changes were requested. The show could have ended at that very point. John F. Kennedy's assassination dominated the TV and only a handful of viewers watched in comparison. It was replayed before the second episode. The ratings for An Unearthly Child were okay, but it wasn't until the second show, The Daleks, that the series captured the minds of the viewing public. Initial companions were clean-cut and respectable school teachers and his granddaughter. This was considered safer than if it had been a young girl travelling with a much older man. Changes were happening both on and off the screen. Companions would change. Waris Hussein, who had directed several episodes, had left, as would Verity Lambert. William's health was deteriorating, and it was decided to keep the show alive. A replacement would need to be found. For the first time ever, the Doctor would regenerate. So how does the first Doctor sourcebook shape up? Surprisingly well. I say surprisingly, as it's easy to throw stuff from the series in and call it done, but that's not what happened here. The book is a beautiful hardback. The cover is equally beautiful with a very clear collection of the Doctor and a cast of characters. The book feels solid and comes in at 160 pages. The book finds a nice balance between show information and RPG related stats. It starts with a brief look at the first Doctor's era and how to play within it. This is the only part of the book that I wish there had been more of. The information is good. It's just that this RPG is very unique in that it is expected and encouraged to play characters which are already established. Even the Star Wars RPG expects you to make new characters rather than play like Luke. It gives good tips, but a few more ideas on playing Hartnell's Doctor would have been cool. The main part of the book is a look at every show that Hartnell did. It's very well done. The book is all black and white as was the original show format. You get an overview of each episode explaining all that occurred. It acts as a history of the Doctor's first travels and is fun to revisit the stories. In print form, it's easy to see how good some of the ideas really were, let down in the day sometimes by money and effects. Reading through the adventures can give new appreciation for what they were trying to do. The Running This Adventure section are a goldmine of ideas. It looks at why the adventure happened, say a faulty TARDIS component that had the travellers land in the wrong place or the wrong time. It points out why it's important and the feeling it should evoke. If it's a historical adventure, the section offers some basic ideas on how to use it. If the travellers were split up, there are ideas on how to run that and keep everyone involved. If there was a key plot element like escaping, there would be some ideas on how to keep it exciting or suspenseful. Further Adventures covers ways the location or story could be visited again. Lastly, there will be RPG stats. These are there for new gadgets and important personalities. A nice touch is how some stats change over time. The Daleks are a good example of this. If you buy from Crucible 7, you get a PDF along with the book. This is a very nice add-on. I put it on my tablet and it allowed me to start reading as soon as ordered or close to, and also means I have the book close at hand if travelling and don't have the hassle of carting the books around. Overall, I love this book. It adds places, gadgets and characters to the game. It has for the most part amazingly clear photos from the episodes. And lastly, it feels a fitting tribute to William Hartnell and the people involved in making the early episodes. None of this great show's long history would have happened without him. The new series is excellent, but we should never forget our past. They created something with love, and more than 50 years on, it's still loved. I will come back. Yes, I will come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward with all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.